Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. Hope everybody's doing great today. So we're back in the shop after my little trip to Oakland last week. It was pretty fun. We got to see an A's and Dodgers game. Unfortunately, the Dodgers couldn't pull it out, but we did get to see a Shohei Ohtani home run as well as a Teo Hernandez home run. So that was pretty cool. It was a good game. We almost came back too. Interesting thing about that, Oakland Coliseum's probably going to be torn down and the A's are moving, so we kind of wanted to get that on. We're trying to go to all the different ballparks, the Major League Baseball ballparks eventually. So we wanted to knock that one off because I think it's probably going to be gone next year, possibly. So it was a good trip. One thing to note about that, it was like basically we went down there and then came back like kind of the next day. And originally I was like, oh, that's going to kind of suck. But it was actually, I think that was almost better than like a 3-day trip, because 3 days you start getting settled in and then you have to like up and leave. Overnight, you're like, we're leaving anyway. So it was a pretty good trip. We had a good time. So I hope everybody had some fun last weekend. And, I apologize for not being able to do a stream, but that was the only days that we could get. So we had those tickets for a while. So this week, I wanted to do some Olympics themed blanks. So I don't know if everybody's into the Olympics or not. I'm a pretty big fan of the Olympics, both summer and winter. I've actually been to 3 of the different games. We went to the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. We went to the 88 Olympics in Calgary, and then Gretchen and I, and that was like with my family, those first 2. And then Gretchen and I actually drove out to the Salt Lake games, and it was kind of a last minute thing, and we only caught like one bobsled event or something like that, but it was totally worth it. It's pretty cool. And I highly recommend, if anybody gets a chance to go, the problem is the tickets are kind of hard to get and it's kind of a pain, but if you get to go to the Olympics sometime, it's pretty cool. It's this melting pot of all these different countries. And so there's people from all over the world there. Everybody's pretty much having a good time. Like it's a really interesting sports event kind of thing. Lot of, I don't know, it's hard to put in words, but it's a pretty cool thing. I really like the Olympic Games. So if you get a chance, go. It's coming to LA in 2028. So if you're in that area, or if you can get some tickets, we're going to try to get some tickets and go down there. It's going to be pretty cool. One of our favorite events is beach volleyball. So if we can get some tickets to that, which I seriously doubt, or it's going to cost us like a house mortgage at this point, but it would be pretty cool to be able to get to see that. I haven't seen one of those. So anyway, we're going to be making some Olympic themed blanks. It's not going to go too crazy. I've done some of these things in the past, doing some different intricate things. I want to just make some, like the Olympic flag is white. It's got like a big white background, and then it's got the Olympic rings on it. And the Olympic rings are 5. There's 5 of them. There's different colors. So I was thinking we'll just kind of do a canvas with white as the kind of the backdrop. We'll do a vertical pour, and this is definitely something I haven't done in the past, is a vertical pour of these. So I'm kind of interested to see how this might go. And the Olympic rings, for anybody that doesn't know, what they signify is the 5 continents. There's 7 continents, and there's 6 actually represented in the Olympics, but they combine the Americas. So North and South America is one continent according to this thing. But I think when it came together, I don't know that there was anybody from South America doing this. And this was, like, I don't know. I don't know when they restarted the Olympic Games. It was like 150 years ago or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how they come up with the 5 continents, but they signify the continents coming together for sports. And so you've got black, yellow, green, blue, and I'm missing one. Black, yellow, red. So we're gonna. What I think I want to do is it's going to be mostly white, because like I said, in my brain I'm kind of going for like the Olympic flag type thing. And so we're going to go with white, and then we're going to go with very thin amounts of, like very thin pours of those colors, and we're going to stack them in the order that they go. So I got to get my phone, because I got to be honest, I don't know offhand how they go. Let's see here. I'm going to pull it up and then I'm going to write it down. Let's get an image here. Okay, so it goes blue, yellow, black, green, red. All right, so I'm going to write that down in my notes here. And that's going to be, so basically how I'm going to pour this, I'm going to pour white, then I'm going to go, you know, black. I'm going to do those 5 colors, and I'm hoping that they kind of mix together, kind of like the rings. So let me stop. For anybody that just doesn't really know, I doubt that anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about here, but let's get a picture up here. Let's just pull up an image, and I can show you guys. I don't want to do that one. That's like a for sale something. Here we go. Paris 2024. Visit. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I can do this or not. Desktop. Okay, hold on real quick. I gotta find the, there we go. All right, so there you guys have it. So we got, like I said, blue, yellow, black, green, and red, and they're kind of intertwined, right? So what I'm going to do is we're going to pour white, probably about we want the rings to be kind of in the middle, sort of. So we're probably going to pour like maybe about 1/4 to 1/3 of the mold with white. Then we're going to, and that, we're just going to kind of eyeball it, kind of, so to speak. And then I'm going to pour the blue, yellow, black, green, and red on top of that. And then I'm going to pour white on top of all that. And I think what I'm hoping is going to happen, because I could maybe kind of pour some white in between each color. That might work as well. And I might have to think about that. I might kind of pull an audible the more I think about this. But I think also if I just pour white on top of all those colors, maybe it'll kind of spread. Actually, the more I think about it, let's do like I said, kind of fill about 1/4 of the mold with white. Then I'm going to pour a little bit of blue, then white, and so we'll kind of go back and forth with the color and white, just to kind of separate things out a little bit more. So it should be kind of interesting, I think. So let's switch back to this view. Let's see here. So who is here first? Vinny was here. Nice. Hugh will be back tomorrow. Nice. Mike McEwen's here. Mark's here. Jeff's at a craft show. Nice. Well, good luck with the craft show. That's cool. Bruce. And we got David in the house. Who else? Sid's here. And Welsh Piper's here. Homer Lex. Chris Walters. Who else? I think that's it. If I missed you, I apologize. Old Man River's down at the bottom there, too. Cool. All right, so let's see. We got a couple other real quick announcements here. We got a new blank that I launched last week, actually a couple weeks ago at this point, but I'm calling it Code Red, and it's red, black, and it's got some white in there as well. And what it is this was actually, originally this was a customer request. They wanted some for firefighters, and I stopped making the thin lines because the ribbon things were really difficult to make and frankly kind of dangerous the way I was doing them, and I just kind of gave up. I'm still trying to figure out a new way to do those that will make sense, let's say, for me to keep doing. But in the meantime, these are for firefighters. It's like I said, red and black. It's got just like the solid black. There's no pearl in the black, and then we got some pearly red, and then just kind of like a solid white. So pretty cool. I'm actually I launched these a couple weeks ago, and they sold out like right away. And then of course, and I knew this was going to happen. I launched them on Wednesday, and then I left town on Friday, so I couldn't even like remake more, like over the weekend. So kind of was out, and then now they're back in stock. I'm making some more. But it's fire season right now, and frankly, we just like 3 days ago, we've been pretty lucky so far, but 3 days ago, just over the mountains over Tahoe, the fire started, and there's smoke, coming over. And so, you know, it's fire season, and this was a good time for me mentally to kind of launch these things, because there's a lot of firework going on right now. So that's why I wanted to kind of launch these right now, but they're available on my website if anybody wants them. And then we got, you know, both sizes, the 8.5 and the 5.5s. So it should be pretty cool. So let me grab you guys a link if anybody wants to snag any of these guys. Where are we at here? And just remember, guys, for anybody that doesn't know, if you're not on my email newsletter, when I launch blanks and a lot of the new products and randomly, the email newsletter is where I do the discounts. So when I did launch these, they were on discount. So make sure to sign up for the email newsletter so you get notified. I add, you know, like if there's any sales or new blanks or any product type stuff, put that in there. And then I also put the replays for the live streams. So it's just kind of a reminder, if you missed one, you'll be able to see what we did and then have a link to it. Let's see here. We got a couple more people joining the fun here. Johnny, CJ, Mike, and Tim are here too. Nice. Welcome. 4x400. Yeah, actually, what are you guys' favorite Olympic events? That's kind of, I'd love to know what you guys like. There's so many of them. We always pay for the Peacock app, and you know, we can watch anything that we want, you know, with that app. You can literally watch every single, like even qualifiers and all that stuff. And the problem is we end up just watching the previous day's prime time thing, because they kind of like wrap up all the main points. It's just, there's so many things going on that you can't possibly like watch all of it. Oh, I don't know if I showed you guys. I'm dropping blanks. Here's I turned one of these back. I don't really think I showed that, just to kind of see what they look like. They're a little dark. I don't have light. Let me just get a light, because they're not that dark. I just don't have a light shining on them. Let me put up a light here real quick. Oh, of course the battery's dead. Always with batteries. Let's see here. There we go. Pick up this blank that I dropped. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys like to see at the Olympics. Like like track and field. If you're like, oh, how do you like track and field? You know, my initial response is like, I'd rather watch something else. But then the track and field events happen, and I'm like, whoa, we're all like glued to the TV. So they're pretty cool. I think this would make a cool pen for a firefighter. So anyway, that's what we got. That's what's happening with them. And then, so just one other reminder, product-wise, shameless plug time. So we're making these Olympics blanks, and then these are going to be going in the Pen Blank Club, the monthly subscription blanks. So we got 2 of them this month, and they're going to be going. I figured out the cycle now, so it's not going to be messed up where you get pay for like 2 months in a row and then don't get anything. Everybody that's paid so far, I think the cutoff day is the 15th. So what that means is, if you like signed up on my website on the 16th, you would be put into the next month's pool. It's like pay up front, and then that way I know how many blanks to make each month for the subscriptions. So you still have time if you want to get in. The Olympic blanks are going to be going out on like the 15th or 16th. You can still get in on that round if you sign up now. And like I said, I think the 5th, maybe even like if you sign up on the 15th. I don't know exactly. I know that that's the date that I put in there. I'm thinking that if you sign up on the 15th, it might push you to the next month. So I'd recommend signing up before the 15th, just to make sure you get in on this round. And then, you know, every month you get 2 pen blanks. Most of them are going to be the ones that you see being made here. And these, what I'm doing is, this is pretty much, in some cases I may sell some blanks, especially like down the road. If I really like a blank, I may, you know, bring it into my inventory. But for the most part, most of these blanks that we make on the stream here, they're going in the subscription box, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to get them, because I'm probably not going to make them again, at least for most of them. And then sometimes we may not get 2 pen blanks made in a month on the stream. In that case, I'm just gonna go at it in the lab and make up some cool blanks. So it should be kind of fun. So it's blanks, like I said. The main thing is it's blanks that otherwise you can't just buy off my website or anything. Oh, the breakdancing. I know we have it, so we're like a day behind. So don't give away any gold medals that happened today. But because we're paying for that app, I don't want to watch commercials. We're not going to sit through commercials on live stream, like watching it live. So with the app, we watch the previous day's prime time, and it's really difficult because you get spoiled, like on Instagram and all over the place. But we try to keep blinders on and not see any Olympics news. So we watch the day before, or like the day before's events after that. So it should be pretty cool. We're looking forward to that. Actually, my physical therapist, he used to do breakdancing just kind of for fun, so he was all excited about that too. And it was interesting, on the app thing, it showed how they score it, because we're like, okay, so breakdancing, that's kind of, how does that work? And so it was kind of cool. They had a little thing that showed how they actually score it. So now we understand, like, how's the competition going. But Gretchen's a dancer. She has a background in dance. She used to teach dance and stuff. And so dancing is kind of a big deal in our house. We watch a lot of the dance shows and things like that. And she knows what's going on with it, and we both appreciate dancing. So it's pretty cool. Like, that's a good one for us to watch. Let's see, breaking, water polo and volleyball. Yeah. I mean, there's very few events that I don't like. I'm going to be honest. So I snowboard, and I'm always like attracted, like drawn to surfing. Like, surfing is cool in general, but I just don't get the competition. Like, I can't, it's not fun for me to watch a surfing competition. I'd much rather sit on the beach and watch people surf. And I did try it once myself, and I didn't love it. It wasn't, you got to be in really good shape to do that stuff. So I was a little disappointed with that. Wrestling, that's one that's not really on my list. I'm just going to be honest. I don't really enjoy it. I don't understand it very well. I didn't wrestle in high school or anything, but it is pretty cool. I mean, even like the table tennis and stuff, like things that those people are crazy. Badminton's fun. I like watching that. Cool. All right. So, and keep sharing if you have any favorites. Let me know, and I'll try to keep an eye on it. So, again, what we're going to do is let's go with these Olympic. Did I put the link to the? Yeah, I did. I think so. Yeah, to the Pen Blank Club, and I had the link messed up. There's still spots available. I had something messed up on my website where it was not taking you somewhere. I don't know what was going on with it, but I fixed that. But that link works, and so you can still sign up. All right, so let's go with the overhead cam. So today is 8/10. So what did anybody do anything last weekend while we were on like hiatus, kind of? Anything fun? I'll tell you what, my knee did not like the stadium steps. There was a lot of walking involved. You get a beer or two in you and you're like, I can't feel my knee, whatever. And so we came back from that. Last week was not a very exciting week for my knee, but it's still fine, but it didn't like stairs and climbing and all that stuff. But we had a good time. Let's see here. And one thing to note, if anybody, like we were looking to see one thing, if you go to different stadiums for baseball, a lot of times like different stadiums have like some special food thing, and we're kind of foodies, we like food. So we were looking to see what kind of food, like is there a special food item that you can only get there or whatever. And like we saw so many reviews of people that are like, oh, the food is so horrible, bring your own and blah, blah, all this stuff. And I got to be honest. So I had the fish and chips. It was fine. It's ballpark food, right? It wasn't special, but like the way that most of the reviews that we could see online, people talking about the food at Oakland Coliseum, made it sound like you were going to pretty much die of like some sort of disease if you eat it. And it was fine. I had a hot dog. It was fine. It wasn't special, spectacular. The fish and chips was actually pretty good. I mean, I would say that was pretty good, but there was nothing super spectacular there or special that you can only get there. But don't be afraid to get the food there. It was fine. All right, so Olympics swirl, that's what we'll call it. I'm going to be using Alumilite Clear Slow, and we're using the Gatling mold. I've had a couple people email me lately about asking about, back in the day or on one of my videos, I had a thing where I'm like, oh, you can download this PDF thing file that shows you how to do, you know, it's like a laid out thing on Excel. But I mean, it's just a PDF printout that shows you like what I put on here. And the thing is, I lost that file. I have no clue where it went. When I switched websites, it's just kind of poof gone. And to be honest, that thing, I don't use that thing. I don't use these PDFs or anything like that. So I recommend just grab yourself a pen and paper. I do have a kind of a fancy pen and paper. This is, what is this thing called? Does it say? Can't even remember what it's called. It's the, I don't know. It's one of those digital pens. It like records and then digitizes what you write. They're super expensive though. And the thing is, I really want to have a digital copy backup just in case like we have a fire or a flood or I don't know, if, you know, something happens, a meteor hits the shop. I want to have this stuff backed up in the cloud, but there's kind of an easier way. If you got a phone, take a picture and just save an album of this stuff. And that's one easy way to do. Now you probably aren't going to be able to like search, but to be honest, the search capabilities, even with these, you know, $100 pen things, and you got to use special notebook paper and all this stuff. It's a way to go, and it's not the worst, but it's really not the best thing to do. But I don't really want to be dealing with like an iPad or anything like that by resin. You see how much resin I get all over my clothes and fingers and all that stuff, and it's just, I don't want expensive electronics in the mix either. So mainly I'm just writing down like, you know, what am I pouring, what resin, what mold, how much of the resin. You know, we're doing different colors, so I split it up and I say, okay, this is going to be X% or whatever like that. How much resin in each cup for each color, what dyes or mica powders or whatever, and how much of it did I put in there. You know, I'll put like what temperature did I pour at, what temperature. I think the important one is what temperature did you pour at, what temperature did you is your shop at. Those are two pretty important ones to be able to kind of look back and see what, you know, get a gauge of when the right pouring time is. Obviously also you're going to need to know how much resin is involved with each one of those things. And then I just write some little notes. If we're, you know, like in this one, we're going to be pouring them. I got to go back and look. I didn't write that down. So we're going to be pouring it white, blue, and I'm going to do like a quarter of tube. So I'm writing down notes, right? And then we're going to pour a thin blue, then white, thin, then yellow, you know, thin, black. Oh, whoops. We got a white in between the yellow and black, black, white, and then green, white. There's going to be a lot of pours going on here, so, but they're all going to be pretty small. And then I'm going to top it off with white. And so all of this all these colors in white, these are going to have to be really thin pours because I'm going to be filling, I want some white on the bottom and I want some white on the top, kind of. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you wanted, you know, that's in my head, that's what I want. And then I want this kind of middle to be kind of all mixed up with colors and white. So these are, like I said, going to be very thinly poured. I don't need a lot of resin for these colors. So I mix up 400 for these Gatling molds. That's going to give me excess. You don't have, if you have the Gatling mold, you don't need to pour 400. But I always fill, you know, pour some excess in these little silicone stopper molds that I sell. So it's just an easy way to kind of make something else cool while you're doing this. So we're going to need a lot of different resins. So, I mean, really, like, I don't need more than like 10 grams for each one of these colors. And there's 5 of those, so that's going to be 50. We're going to go with blue. Let's see here. And another way for me to kind of keep the colors in check is to write them down in the right order. Blue, yellow, black, green, and So the white is going to be the rest, basically. Another thing to think about is like, I want to fill about 1/4 to maybe 1/3 of the tube with white on the bottom and the top. So, at the most 2/3. I'm just thinking about amounts of resin that I'm going to need. That would be like 260. Yeah, so let's go with 20, 40, 60, 100. I'm going to go with 15 grams for each one of these colors. Sometimes when you're doing something like this, a new blank, you got to really, this may take a couple tries to get it like nailed down with the amounts and everything. I think that's plenty for these colors. I don't want I want them to be kind of thin. So we got 75 minus 400. All right, so we got 325 for the white. And I finally got the Divine White back in stock. So we're going to use that. It's a very white. I got to be honest, guys. This stuff is significantly more white than the Alumilite white. You can use a lot less to get the same effects. So this is a pretty good one to go. I actually bought the 4 ounces of it. Pretty good. I would say that it acts a little bit different than the Alumilite white. Maybe like a little bit thinner, possibly. Like thins out the resin a little bit. It's slightly different. I don't know what. It's just not the same thing. And the color is a little bit different. I would almost say that the Alumilite white dye is like warmer, almost. Like it almost has like, we're talking like splitting hairs. You got to stick samples of this stuff next to each other, cured resin. But I would say that this is like more in like the cool zone. Like it's almost got a bluer or cooler cast to it, the Divine. Whereas this is a little bit warmer. More in, and it's not like it's yellow, but it's more, has more like of a yellow in it, when you compare them side by side. Now again, we're splitting hairs here, but a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler on the white spectrum, let's say. Very minute. Like you're not going to notice, you're not going to pour Alumilite white dye in and be like, oh, that looks yellow. It's not going to look yellow to your eyes. It's just going to look more warm, when you compare a sample right next to each other of these two different things. So I'm just going to put in like, you really don't need that much. I'm going to put 1 gram, that's it. And we're going to look at it. But I find that you need like half as much to get the same opacity, let's say even, using the Divine White. So and I think it's about the same price. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not like it's significantly different than if you buy the Alumilite. There's nothing wrong with the Alumilite though either if you have that. But if you haven't tried the Divine White, give it a shot. See what you guys think about it. It works pretty good. It's a little different, So that's going to be, let's see here. 1 gram. Let me just double check my math. Yeah. We're going to go with 1 gram of Divine White. All right, now for the colors, I'm probably going to go with Divine for most of these, except for black. I don't see any difference between, actually, I kind of prefer the Alumilite black. It seems like it's a little bit more, like it's funny because I think this is a little bit more concentrated, the Divine White, than the Alumilite white dye. But the black, I think, is a little bit more concentrated in the Alumilite. So I usually just go with that, and I buy it in bulk anyway. Let me go back and see if anybody's saying anything here. Bought a new car, nice. Tim, yeah, the diving is awesome. One of these years, we're gonna have to beat those Chinese guys and girls. They just like swept the podium pretty much, or like the gold in everything. It's crazy. Casting some steampunk. Oh, did you watch the Did they do that at Turner's Warehouse? Did you get that idea from them? And Mark L, more 3D printing, nice. Oh, CAD software. Yeah, I wish I had more time and patience to learn how to do that stuff. In-game war machine. Wow, sweet. You got a new job. Nice, congratulations, that's cool. Yeah, jobs are not easy to come by right now. Oh, there it is, Mark. Yep, watch Chad do it. Chad does some really awesome stuff with the label, like label quote unquote blanks or whatever. The tube in. Use turbo scan. Yeah, just scan it. It's easier, cheaper. Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, so we got the divine white. So we're gonna go with, we got black, we're gonna go with Alumilite, and like I'm gonna need like a drop or two. I mean, I'm just gonna say 2 drops of that. That'll be plenty. Yellow, the sunny, is it sunny yellow? Sunny yellow is gonna, that's spot on. Sunny, it's spot on to the Olympic rings. I'm gonna put that back up. Oh, I switched it. Let's do there. I don't know, is it dark on your screen? Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I don't want any of your cookies. I don't even like cookies. So here's the colors. I think, I don't know, that's a little bit golder, maybe. I did buy, I think this is gonna be too gold. I bought one of their new colors, yellow gold, but that's like gold. So I think we're just gonna go with sunny yellow. I think it'll be fine. It'll get the point across. Green, I think that our favorite key lime, again, it's not perfect, I don't think, but it'll work pretty good. I think we'll get the idea. We got black. Blue, they got a really good blue that'll work perfect for that. The Lagoon, I think that one's dead on. And we need, let's see here, we got green, we need red. I think berry red is probably the color that we want for that. That's tiger orange. Berry red, I think that'll work pretty good. So we got our colors. Green is gonna be key lime. Red is berry. Black is Alumilite black. Blue is Lagoon. And again, I'm probably just, I'm trying to think. I think all of these pigments are pretty opaque. You don't really need to put a lot in. And we're mixing up 15 grams of resin, like 2, maybe 3 drops. I'm gonna put 2 drops in, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. But that should be plenty. So I'm gonna need a bunch of small cups. Might even jump, you know what? I think I'm gonna bump this up to 20. I'm not gonna use it all, but I think it'll be better because there's gonna be some left over in the cups. Still, now let's go with 3 drops, and then that's gonna affect my total slightly. 20 times, that's 100. Yeah, so we're just gonna go with 300 grams of white. I think that's gonna be plenty. Yeah, that's, and I am actually, yeah, we'll just keep that at 1 gram of divine white dye. I think that's plenty. And I got 5 cups here. Okay, so I think we got it. Now, I'm just gonna do my normal stir stick. My shop right now is 83 degrees. I can't wait for fall. But so it's 83 Fahrenheit in my shop. We're probably gonna pour these guys at around 110. One thing that I've been kind of playing with also is I just opened up a new batch of Alumilite Clear Slow, but I had stuff already open and I got new jugs, like gallon jugs, and so I was kind of playing around with cooling it off in this is like a freezer, a chest freezer, but I have a temperature thing and it's set at about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't want it cold, I just want it chilled, and I have to use this thing for the Alumilite white resin. You have 2 minutes of working time, and when it's like 85 degrees in the shop, like forget about it. Like there's not even enough time to get 2 colors poured, you know, quickly enough. So I chill that off. I've been doing that for many years now. I don't really chill the Alumilite clear slow. And one thing that I want to mention, I don't really have any tips or anything. What it will do is it's going to give you significantly more amount of working time in the summer if you're dealing with really high temperatures, like above 80 Fahrenheit. If you need to be working in that kind of a temperature, it's not a bad idea to toss that Alumilite clear into your, if you have something set up like this, where you can maintain a temperature that's, you know, 50, 55, something like that, even 60, somewhere between 50 and 60. I wouldn't recommend going below 50, I don't think. But if you want to do something like this, it definitely helps out. And especially if you're using Alumilite clear slow to pour huge castings in warmer temperatures, it'll significantly help you out. It'll give you a lot more working time if you chill it. Now, another way to go is you could put it, I really don't think I'd recommend you bring your Alumilite and put it in your like fridge at home in the kitchen. I'm sure it's fine, but I don't know that I would recommend it, and I think that your spouse is probably going to thank me for not recommending that. But if you do have a free, you know, like a shop fridge or something like that, or if you do want to get something, these things are pretty cheap, these little freezer chest things. You can store your CA glue in there. I do that too, and that'll extend the life of that. Not a bad way to go. Like I said, somewhere between 50 and 60 Fahrenheit is probably the sweet spot. Going much lower than that, I don't know that you're going to get a lot of benefit, and there could be some issues, possibly. So I just think that that's a conservative way to go, and it definitely will help. I mean, you're talking about like a 30-degree difference, you know, when you pull the jugs out. So the problem that I'm finding is I got to sit and wait for a long time, even in the summer with this. So I finally kind of pulled it out. And one thing I do want to mention though is if you do chill it in the fridge, if you're used to and have numbers, like, you know, so I just said that I'm probably going to pour it like 110 and it's 83 degrees in the shop. This stuff has been sitting out on the shelf, you know, like out, not in the fridge. That number is not going to work with chilled resin. You're gonna have to kind of start over and figure out when to pour if you chill it before, even if the shop temperature is like, you know, 90 or something like that. It's going to affect those numbers. And I had some issues, I didn't know, I just kind of guessed. I got good results. What I think you're going to get is you're going to be able to probably pour at like 90 or 95 at that point if you started at like 55. So just to let you guys know, there's a couple things going on there. It is an option though. If you are in an environment that's really hot and you're having trouble, because even in the summer, if it's like 85 or above in my shop, even Alumilite clear slow, which technically has a 12-minute working time, it's hard to get everything mixed up. You guys have even seen it on the show. So a couple tips here and there to share. Oh, don't you hate it when the glove rips when you're putting it on? Another one in the trash. You decided to get a bamboo? Nice. Yeah, keep your eyes on sales and stuff. It's a good 3D printer. I think that it really, and there are other options out there now that are, you know, pretty similar, you know, where you can kind of, like, you're getting similar kind of consistency, quality, and all that kind of stuff, speeds. But I think that bamboo is probably just they're leading the way, and I think they're just like, what I'm interested in seeing is the next generation of bamboo, actually. There's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. I still think that the bamboo, like the X1 and even the PS or P1, whatever, those things are really excellent quality, and like you're getting into an ecosystem of 3D printing a little bit. and it's a good one. I mean, they literally want, like, I think they said they want to be like the Apple of 3D printing, and I think they're on a good trajectory to do that, where it's pretty much open the box, everybody, it works, kind of thing. That's what we want. But that next generation that they come out with, whoo, that's going to be crazy. If I remember correctly, I think I saw a thing where, like, the people that started Bamboo actually worked at, a lot of their engineers at least, or something like that, or maybe half the people, I think they came from DJI, like the drone company. I think they were engineers from there. So that's another one where, if you're familiar with drones, those things are pretty awesome. They just work. They're great, Okay, so enough talking. No more talky. Get one of these cups cleaned out a little bit. I'm gonna go blow this out. There's a little bit of funk in the bottom. Probably wouldn't hurt anything, but I don't know. I'd rather not have that in there. And let's switch to the overhead camera. All right. So again, Alumilite clear slow, and I finally got them. I asked them to send me, I did this before. What I do is I buy 10 gallons at a time, and then I put it in a gallon jug, just bring out a little bit at a time, right? Because this is easier to deal with. So I asked them to send me some jugs, because I had like the super old jugs. Like, I just clean them out after every 10 gallons. I'll clean the jug out with acetone. Just make sure there's no old resin in there, and then it's fresh and clean, ready to go. But the sticker and everything, like, it was like ancient. So I asked them to send me some jugs. So what do? They just send me jugs with no stickers on it. And I'm like, that helps zero. And what I want is, if I'm showing you guys what resin I'm using, it would be helpful to have an updated, if you order this is what I'm using, this is what the sticker should look like. I'm like, it's literally only helping you guys at Alumilite. So they send me one with no stickers. So I'm like, okay, could you send me jugs with stickers on it? So they sent me jugs, empty jugs, and I wasn't asking for a free jug of resin. I was like, just send me empty jugs. And they sent me jugs with no stickers, and then stickers that I had to peel off and put on my own. I'm like, okay. Those crazy guys at Alumilite are always doing funky stuff. So we're going with 400 grams, and I'm just going to use the mixing cup for the white. Sometimes I won't use a mixing cup. Like, if it ends up that, like, the mixing cup's only going to have like 100 grams or something very small, it's wider and spread out compared to like a smaller cup. So a lot of times I'll just break it into the same size cups so that the resin heats up at the same rate. These things are so small that there's no way that I'm going to get that to work. So in this case, there's no benefit to me not using the mixing cup, I guess. Hopefully that made sense. Yeah, the whole system. Oh yeah, you'll never print carbon fiber. The AMS system is super cool. If you're doing it all in the same print, the switching back and forth, I mean, it significantly increases the amount of time that you're waiting for that print, but it's so cool. As long as you got the patience, the AMS works great, and it's just nice because, I mean, it just does what it, like, you just select whatever color. You got 4 of them loaded. You could have up to 16 if you want to get all nuts and hook them all together. But, most people will just probably get the 4. And I mean, I think it's great. The other thing is just the loading and unloading with that compared to, I'm not putting this away, compared to what I used to have to do. Oh my God. You literally are just like, okay, undo. And then when you load it, you just stick it in there and it just knows what to do. It's like, that was actually something that I don't think I mentioned that before, but the loading and unloading of filament, especially for somebody like, I don't print every day. I think that's one of the biggest advantages. Like, I'm not going to sit there and 3D print every single day. I just need it when I need it, and it needs to be easy because I'm not going to remember all these steps and things, you know. That's what I would find is like just trying to unload the thing. I'm like, okay, how do I do this again? I'd have to like watch a video or read the instructions, because it'd be months sometimes before I would switch it. And on my previous one, this thing, it's intuitive. You just do it. I don't need a PhD in 3D printing just to change my filament out. It just does it. It's cool. Yeah, I actually have a poop chute printed. I haven't installed it, so fail on my part. I'm like, whatever, I'll pick those up someday. All right, so 20 grams is going in each one of these guys. Now, you know, this isn't particularly difficult, but this wouldn't be a bad time to have used cooled off resin. I don't need to measure this out. I'm just going to put a little bit, a couple drops. That's all that really needs to be in there. And the white is going to make things opaque anyway. So, you know, I'm not, for how little resin I'm going to be pouring in with these colors, I mean, even if they were transparent, it's really probably not going to even make an ounce of difference in the final blank as far as opacity goes or seeing the tube. You know, it's just, there's not really going to be that much. What is happening here? Oh, that thing's not even open or something. What the heck? That's always my... Huh. That's weird. Guess I didn't open this one? There's no hole in the tip. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Back in action. This one might be a little bit more on the thin or see-through side. Yeah. A little bit. That's fine. I got a little excited there, unnecessarily. It's okay. It's a little bit on the opaque side or transparent side. But again, I don't really think in the end this is really gonna matter much. So just kind of keep that in mind. Berry red, at least, is a little bit more on the transparent side. We got our sunny yellow. That one's pretty opaque. Some of these are a little bit more on the opaque side. Some of them have a little bit of translucency. I wouldn't say that they're transparent, really. They're like kind of translucent. Mainly when, you know, if you're making like a handle blank, something thicker, you know, like I would say like over an inch thick and not drilling out the center also. At that point, it doesn't matter. None of these things are going to be like transparent. But when we're making pen blanks and we're going to be drilling the center out, that's the problem. Is there's not that much material there, which means the amount of color density per square whatever inch, there's just not that much resin in it, right? So some things that don't have that kind of density to them, that thing's not even open. Oh shoot, do I not have a keyline that's open? It helps significantly to open your dies before you start pouring. I really thought I had one open. Okay. This resin's already starting to kind of heat up. I can feel it. Whoa, that went way over. Way over on that one. That's too much. Close enough. Okay. Yeah, I think these will work pretty well for the Olympic ring colors. Green's a little bit, maybe just a little bit on the brighter, lighter side than putting a gram in of this. Yeah, 1.1, that's fine. Not a biggie. Get my dyes out of my way. Yeah, this stuff is really getting warm. I'm gonna have to pour right away. I'm just gonna take the temp. I think it's gonna be well over 110. Yeah, 114, guys. We gotta pour. And then let's see here: blue, yellow. Shoot, I should have done this the right way. Black, red, green, green, red. Okay. And again, this is just going to be a very thin pour. Okay, that's it. Then we're going to pour a little bit of white. This is going to be just a tiny bit of white. Make sure this is mixed in. Ooh, this is going to be a close one, guys. Wish I would have refrigerated the resin for this one. As long as it's still flowing out of the cup, we're doing okay. And I'm not like super gonna be that worried, so now I'm just pouring. I don't know if I have enough white here. Yeah, I ran out of white. So that's something. So I'm gonna have to reduce the amount. I'm gonna have to just dump some of this yellow on top. And frankly, I don't know that I need to stir this up. I really don't think we need to stir it up. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna end up cutting off some of the top of this. I'm just gonna kind of fill these. But we got to get this thing in the pressure pot here. So we learned a couple lessons. We're gonna give this one more shot. But hopefully this will help you guys kind of understand, you know, a lot of times if you got something in mind, I'm going to say that a lot of times it's pretty rare that you just nail it and everything's perfect on that first round. A lot of times even the things that like turned out pretty good on the stream, I'm going to just clean off my cups here, or I mean my stir sticks. I knew I was going to have a lot of like more resin in the colors than I really needed, but we really kind of ran out of that white. So we're going to have to fix that. I kind of had to call an audible on the stir stick. I could have done it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's totally necessary. And we're just going to dump these guys because they're pretty thick. All right, so I like to wipe these guys off with a little bit of acetone, just to make sure that I'm pulling the dyes out. But yeah, so you know, a lot of times I'll go back, even if I've kind of nailed, like I was really happy with the blank on the stream. A lot of times the second or third time, like when I'm off camera, I might make a little tweak here and there. Nothing that's going to significantly change the blank, but sometimes you saw how things went, and you're like, you know, if I just kind of adjusted these numbers a little bit, it would just work out better. So a lot of times I'll do things like that. But in this case, like, you know, it didn't really work. Like I needed more white resin. Now, one thing also that will affect that significantly is how much did I pour in the bottom, the first round. One thing you can do, and I didn't do this because I didn't really think it was necessary, but with the translucent, the white Gatling molds, if you get a bright light, put it behind it. I know this is probably going to blow out the camera, but if you, I don't know if you can see, but if you put a bright light behind it when you're pouring, you can see how much resin. It's somewhat difficult to see. I mean, it's not like perfect. It's not dead clear. PVC pipes are even easier a lot of times, but what I find is the more you use a PVC pipe, like the first time you use it, it'll be great because it's totally clear. There's no resin dripping all over it. But with PVC pipes, you end up loading them up quite a bit on the outside with caked on resin. And it can start to get a little difficult because this was the original Gatling mold, right? I was using PVC pipes, and what ends up happening is you get so much resin on the outside of these that it can make things a little bit more difficult to see. But what you can do, either way you do it, you could measure up and say, okay, I want a quarter of the length, or a third, or you know, whatever it may be, half, and you can put marks on your pipes, on your tubes. But you can also do that with the Gatling molds, and that's why I switched from, because you see, originally I was doing the red ones, and then I realized if you backlight these things, you can actually see and you know, mark amounts of resin if you need that kind of, you know, accuracy, amount of a certain color going in there. So there's different ways to kind of do this where you can kind of get things, you know, settled. And if this was something like if I was going to be adding these blanks to my website, I'm pretty sure that I would do that so that I know exactly I'm not at the end running out of white because I filled one to like a third of the way instead of a quarter, and then I don't have enough of the white. So there's different ways, tactics of dealing with some of these things if you need things to be you know, kind of perfect with ratios. If I would have had a little bit more time, because I was just I knew that I was kind of on the gun there. You know, you can also look in there and try and get them exact by looking down. I find that to be a lot harder to get them just by looking down into the tube. But that would have been an easier way to go. If I would have had more time, I would have done that and taken a little bit more care to get the first amount in. So I think though, 15 grams is going to be plenty of resin for each color. So I am gonna switch those, and then I'm just going to try to be a little bit faster, number one, and a little bit more careful on that first pour to make sure that I've got enough resin for the top. The other thing that's going to happen is if you pour too much in the bottom, then your colors start kind of creeping up to like one end of the blank, and I'm trying to get them kind of in the middle with white and white on the other ends. It's not going to be perfect. Like there's no way to pour liquid and get like a third of the blank is dead white and that's it, and there's like some demarcation line where now there's color and then stops and then it's white. It's going to be all mixed together anyway, you know. But you can make things a little bit better, you know, if you have some extra time. So let's give this one more shot here. Again, switching up amounts, trying to be I'm going to be a little bit quicker. I'm going to try to, I think what I'm going to do, one thing that I don't do a lot, I don't usually do, but I think I'm going to need to do that this time. I'm going to preload the dye into the cups. I think it'll work all right. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to pour that way I just don't have to like open dye bottles and mess around with all that kind of stuff. Where am I? I've got favorite cups that I use for this, and I got to find more of them. There we go. So we got our 5 cups. Put these guys up there. Let's see here. What did everybody say? You had to heat the extruder. Yeah, you had to heat the extruder and do all this stuff and fiddle around. I didn't like it. So I just never used it because I was like, whatever. Let's see here. If you want an STL for a round honeycomb, go over to Hobble Creek. Mark over there, he's got them. I don't know if it's just on Etsy. I'm going to get you a link here. Digital downloads. There you go. He's got a ton of these things. And of course, he's got a couple that I kind of came up with also, but so you can get the pinstripes and the triple helix on my website as well, and then I have the flat honeycombs, and then I got a bunch of other ones too that he doesn't have. But he's got some pretty cool ones. He's got the brick, he's got a herringbone pattern. These are all for cylinders. He's got a really cool stars and stripes one also. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, for the Bamboo Lab, for like, well, not just Bamboo Lab, but for FDM style printers, like the filament printers rather than resin, they don't turn as well, okay, and even cast as well as the resin. It's pretty good, it's fine, but I would probably not even recommend messing with PLA. It's terrible to turn. It melts very quickly. It doesn't turn. It's just not rigid enough a lot of times, and it's very melty. So I would go with, if you're going to go with anything, PETG works pretty good. Again, not as good as resin printers, but PETG, ABS works okay. I used to use that, but I think PETG is probably going to be the best way to go. There may be some, like, I'm going to air quote, alloy type, like new material types that are like mixtures of different things. Like maybe some of the PLA high strength things might operate a little bit differently, or the PLA, I don't know, maybe even some of like the fiber filled mixtures. I haven't tried it. I think it's just going to be a pain, and a lot of people's printers won't print a fiber filled filament if you don't have the ones that can print that stuff. PETG, if you just print regular stuff, start there, try it out and see how you like it first. Yeah, the weather was really good when we went to Oakland. That was one thing. Well, I'll get great separation between the colors. That's true. It wasn't too bad. I mean, honestly, I could easily wait till like 120, and as long as this is a little bit, there was a lot of pores going on back and forth. That's where things like, and that's another thing to mention. You guys saw, I mean, I was like, oh, I gotta go. Like this could be bad actually, kind of thing. So my starting point, I was thinking 110. Fahrenheit for when I wanted to start pouring. Well, I blew by that, and we started pouring at 115. Even at 110, with the amount of back and forth pours that I have to do, it might be better to kind of start pouring at like 105, you know, and so you can kind of play around again. That first round of doing something new, that you have something in mind and you're trying to get things to kind of operate a certain way, or there's different weird ratios, you're not sure how much of each thing, how it's all going to work. That first one, a lot of times, may be kind of a throwaway. Now, I think those blanks are going to turn out fine. I'm not worried about those blanks really, but are they as good as I can get? I think we can play with it, right? So, you know, I want to really try to get everything done by 110. I want to start pouring at 110 this time. That should give me plenty of time. I'm going to try to really, I'm going to get my colors. That's little things can help. So let's go overhead. So I got my pour bucket there. So what I want to do this time is I want to have my colors in the right orientation off the bat. All right, so blue, I'm just going to double check. Blue, yellow, black, green, red. Blue, yellow, black, green, red. Okay, so I'm going to have these things laid out the way that I need to have them laid out, and frankly, we're going to add the dye. Well, these are, you know, pigment, but whatever. We're going to add the colors right now. Oh, that was more than I needed. That's okay though. And I don't even have to mess with this stuff now, right? But I've got them lined up the way that they need to be going in. And just taking that little step should give me, I mean, this is going to save me, I don't know, a minute or two. Who knows, you know? I don't know exactly how long it's going to save me, but it's going to definitely save me some time. And I don't have to worry about it either. That's the other issue. Sometimes we just waste time like thinking about, oh, what do I need to do? Which order? Then I'm searching through my notes to find what colors. And if you got everything kind of set up ahead of time, oh, that was plenty. Too much. That's okay. If you got everything set up, then you don't have to worry. You don't have to expend energy and the possibility of screwing something up. I mean, I think that's what happens, is you mess things up because you're rushing. If you don't do things, if you don't have things prepped right, you know, take the time to do that. Can't see a link. What link? Oh, I didn't get a link. Sorry, guys. Let me get the link. I'm like, go to his website. Here we go. So there's all of them that you can see. But he's got I will say, I tried to do the vertical. Now, they weren't his files. I didn't buy them because I actually had Nikki make me some vertical cylindrical honeycomb. I tried two different types, both some that were like the wrapping around, as well as like basically if you just had a flat one and you took like a cookie cutter and just made it round. And I got to be honest, it was such a pain. Like I didn't get that. There are so many bubbles that get trapped on the outside of the blank that I gave up. I was like, this isn't even worth my time, because I'm going to have so many throwaways that I just don't see. I don't know how Mark does it. He showed you on a video. I tried all of his things, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's my files that don't really work. But I couldn't get them to work to the point where it was even worth me trying to sell them. So I just do the flat ones for sale. But I don't want to detract. Like I said, I think it's definitely, and I was actually thinking about buying Mark's file for that just to see how it works. But just be forewarned, because his like wrap, the honeycombs wrap all the way, instead of it being like a flat honeycomb that you cookie cuttered and you have like the cells on just two sides, like it was like a flat one. His cells go all the way around, and it's really awesome, and he sells the blanks and everything. I just don't know how he doesn't have like 1,000 bubbles, because I tried 1,000,000. I mean, I even printed it like super small just to see if it would work, and it still didn't work. And I was like, oh my God, I'm done. So he's got some tricks. Maybe it's his file though. I was not using his STL file. I just never really got around to. One of the problems that I have is I'm also a little bit like I'd want to talk to him before I start. Like if I was going to sell those, not the 3D print file, but the blanks, I would talk to him before I even did that anyway. So it's just not really high priority for me. Okay, so we're going to switch back to 15 grams for all the things. So that's going to put us back up to 325, and then 15 times 5 colors. I'm just going to put same as above. 1 gram white, divine white, and 400 Gatling. It's clear. Okay. So we got all that stuff taken care of. So again, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. I'm just going to try to take a little bit more care, speed things up a little bit. I'm going to maybe even kind of try to shave some time off during the mixing. I was kind of maybe a little bit, you know, lackadaisical with my, could have maybe gotten moving a little bit quicker. Basically not sat there and mixed it as long. One other thing we were talking about cooling off, like putting resin in a fridge or something, you know, to cool it off. One other thing that you're gonna have to take into account, let's say, I'm gonna switch to this view while I talk. So again, I tried this with the Alumilite Clear Slow, and these things, it's not just Alumilite. I mean, these things, if you were using an epoxy, it'd be the same thing for the most part. Probably different like timings and things like that, but things to keep in mind. It's just any of the clear resins. Alumilite Clear Slow, when I had these things, when I was doing a couple experiments with it, cooled off first. The other thing is it's starting out thick. It's much thicker. Like if you're used to working with it with it's sitting on your desk and it's 80 degrees in your shop, 85. The viscosity of the liquid in the jug when you start mixing it is much thinner when it's warmer temperature. If you cool it off, it's going to be thick. So if you're used to resin and you're like, okay, well in the winter it's like 50 degrees in my shop, that's what you're going to be working with, right? And it takes longer to stir just a little bit. But there's little things, so just be aware. You're probably going to have to stir it longer, which I don't think you're still going to have a longer working time. I mean, I had significantly more working time when I was using it. I would say I'm really kind of bummed. I really should have left that stuff in the fridge now, because this would have been, I wouldn't have had any problems doing this if I had chilled it first. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I need to get some more jugs. But I think I'm going to actually have some that I keep with the Alumilite Clear Slow. Some of it, I'm going to keep 2 jugs, the A and the B, in the chiller, and then I'm going to have some that are up on the counter, because I don't have a problem doing most things. If it's just 2 or 3 colors, I'm stirring it, it's kind of the standard thing. I'd actually rather just get it done quicker. So that's why I usually just leave this stuff out. I've never chilled it in the past because I usually have enough time. But when you're doing things that are a lot of back and forth, complicated pours, I'd rather be pulling out something from this fridge. Okay, let's do this. And then it's lunchtime. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to be a little bit more efficient this time. So 200. Oh, went a little over there. Not a big deal. As long as, this is one of the reasons why I love, as this is not a real reason to use this resin specifically for this reason, but so I went over. This cup is like, I don't know what kind of junk is in this. I've been reusing it. This do not pour resin back. If your cup is not like totally clean, fresh, like a brand new cup. Only do that if it's brand new. So I went over, but this is a 1-to-1, so all I got to do is just match that with the part B. If you're using a 2-to-1 resin, you're like, I don't know. Like at that point, I would probably just dump out 3 grams and into the trash. But with 1-to-1 resins, you can just say, oh, 203, okay, no problem. I can do that. Another thing that you can do that might help a little bit, depending, I definitely have to do this when I'm using the Alumilite white resin, the 2-minute working time one. Okay, I don't need to mess around. Get your pressure pot lid off and like kind of off to the side, so that all you got to do is just slam that mold into your pressure pot and just put the lid on. You don't have to even take the lid off. Like, look, I got to be honest with, if you're using a resin that has 2 minutes of working time, even seconds, you're like, okay, how can I shave off 2 seconds before this stuff sets up? Because the timing is so difficult with that. The window, you know, like with Alumilite Clear Slow, with this, the longer the working time is for the resin, the longer that kind of what I like to call is like a gel period, but each stage in thickness, viscosity of the resin, because that's really what we're looking for, right? With that temperature number, it's not about the temperature of the resin. That has nothing to do with anything. It's the, you know, how long is it, how much more working time do I have? You know, how much working time is left is kind of part of what that number is signifying. But also what, I gotta kind of hurry. I gotta focus here a little bit. I don't know what I was talking about. I'm gonna have to, you'll have to remind me what I was talking about, because now it's go time, guys. No messing around on this round. Oh, I gotta get these things in the right order. Keep them in the right order. Another thing you could do is just like mark these cups, how much like 20 grams is. That way you don't have to like you don't have to weigh it at all, you know. Again, seconds may count depending. Oh, I know what I was talking about, the working time of the resin. So what ends up happening is the longer the working time, you get a longer period where the temperature is the right temperature, or whatever, like the viscosity is correct for the pour, because that's what we're going after, is the viscosity, really. And so like if it's a 2-minute working time, the viscosity is only going to be right for like 20 seconds maybe, you know. So you better be ready, and you know, it's harder to get the right time. Like I don't take temperature or any of that stuff. I just gotta I have to have my technique down to the point where when I'm done mixing, like it's ready to pour. That's how I do it. There's no messing around. I do not have time to take temperatures even. And that's another reason. That's why I don't really recommend people use it, and that's why I'm trying to get away from it, because it's tough. But the longer the working time, the longer that kind of correct time to pour is. But there's a limit. The other advantage that Alumilite Clear Slow has, being like a 12-minute or so, 10 to 15 minute working time thing. The other thing is, generally there's just not that much more time before it fully hardens. Whereas you could have epoxies that are like these 30-minute, working times. And that's great. There's a long time where it's kind of at the right consistency to pour. But the thing is, then you pour it in and it's just sitting there, and it can move around because it's not actually locking in. Oh shoot, I didn't get the white. You haven't actually locked in, it's not hardening for like much longer, like 10, 15, 20 minutes in some cases. And that's enough time for the resin to, even though it's kind of like the right consistency, it can kind of still move around and mess things up. Whereas Alumilite Clear Slow, 12 minutes, it just isn't going to be moving around. Like it's continuing to harden up as you're pouring it. Okay, we're good. This time was much faster. Did you see that, guys? We're at 100 right now. So I'm going to kind of look at the consistency of this stuff. Frankly, I'm going to pull out some more berry red since I have time, because it's a little bit thin for me. I think we can add a little bit more and it'll be fine. Just want to make sure that it's just looking a little sad. That's looking better. It's a little bit bolder now. All the rest of the colors look great. So I would personally, I prefer using a resin that has enough time to get, you know, stuff done, but then it's locking up, you know, pretty soon after I pour it. I'm not sitting around waiting. It's hard to get the right timing down with the 30-minute working time resins or more. I'm just impatient too. Yeah, no, I saw his video on how he does the honeycomb blanks, how he pours them, and I tried every trick that he showed, and it wasn't working. Okay, so I'm not even gonna wait for 110 or whatever. I'm kind of looking down in there. It's really hard. I mean, this mold is white, the resin's white. I don't know how, that one was pretty deep. You know, really the best way to go is to backlight this thing. Okay, so the only issue is, what's the temperature of this? 110. We're at 110. I'm going to start pouring this stuff. And then we want to go with white. Just a little bit of white, not much. Very thin pours on all of these things. Not even using all of the 15 grams in the colors, you know. Frankly, I could mix up 5 if that would work, but you kind of need a little bit of almost like weight to go in there with it. Mass, I don't know, something. Hopefully these will be cool. I mean, even if these don't really kind of nail the Olympic look, I think that these are going to be kind of an interesting blank no matter what. Get a little bit more red in there. Yeah. Still might not have enough white. I'll have to kind of see. Kind of feel like we didn't. And I'm not going to, ooh, just enough white. Woo! I'm not going to stir it on either of these. Look at that. So I don't know, like I said, it's kind of crazy. It's got the colors. Is it going to have the intermixing of the blanks? Or I mean, intermixing of the colors like the rings? I don't know. I just don't know exactly how this is all going to pan out, but I don't know. Just looking at the top of that mold, though, you know, with the resin kind of sitting on the top there, just looking at it. I mean, compared to the Olympic flag, it definitely reminded me of that. So I'm going to go back to the Olympic flag. I mean, it reminded me of that. You know, it's all kind of mixed up and everything, but and I think that the insides of the blanks, you know, like whatever's on top when you're pouring it like that is not going to be representative of what's on the inside of your blanks. I think that it's going to be a lot more tame on the inside, most likely, especially down once you get, you know, down in the middle. So I don't think because it almost maybe even looked a little bleedy, possibly on the surface there. And that definitely happens when you stir your resin up on vertical pours. It looks like you've got, like, I don't know, everything just bled together, basically, is what it looks like. But you don't get that on the insides, you know. And that's the crazy thing about vertical pours into, and it really only works in thinner blanks, like 3/4 inch, like the Gatling mold pen blanks. I'm just gonna kind of dump some of these guys in here, make a little bit of an Olympic ring kind of theme thing there. I'm gonna acetone my stir sticks off here just to kind of get them ready for the next round. So, I actually had some other news that I can share. So next week we're going to turn one of these guys up, and that was the news that I actually kind of forgot to mention. But we're going to do something kind of special, something a little bit different. You guys are used to me. You see me doing cigar pens, Sierra pens, Juniors. Those are my favorites. They're easy. I know them without even thinking. And so that, in a lot of the time, I'm not really, the main reason that I'm making a pen is to see what the blank looked like. For me, the blank is more important. That's really the focus of what I'm doing usually. So it's easier for me just to use a kit that I've got lots of kits for, that I know without having to think about how the turning is going to go. But we got something special. So Kate over at Bullseye Turning Supply, you guys familiar with them? She put on and that's actually one of the reasons I pulled this shirt out. She's the one that put on the SoCal Turners Gathering and then the Turners Expo the following year. But her and her, I don't want to leave out Savannah. So Kate and Savannah contacted me and they said, hey, what would you think if we sent you some kits? So they make closed end pen kits. I'm not sure if you guys, is everybody familiar with what that is? Have you heard of that? It's kind of like a halfway step to like the kitless type pens. You're basically, the tube doesn't span from one end of the blank to the other. So, like on a normal pen, like a cigar, or like, let's just go with the Sierra. You're going to take your pen blank, you're going to cut it, you're going to drill all the way through it and stick a tube in there, right? And then you're going to press parts in both ends of that thing. So you're going to have metal on one end, metal on the other, and that's how everything works. Just in case somebody isn't familiar, I got a Sierra pen right here. All right, so your blank's in the middle, the tube goes from one end to the other, you drilled all the way through it, and then you press kit parts into both ends. With these closed end pen kits, you don't have hardware on the ends. They're closed ends. You're not going to drill all the way through. And they got some really cool ones. They make a couple of different kits. And I said, sure, send me some of that stuff. And they not only did that, but they also gave me discount codes. And I'll give you guys the discount codes and everything next week. But they sent some kits, but they also sent some giveaway items, guys. So not only are we getting to see some cool kits, and these are not hard. Again, I'm going to have to kind of think about what I'm doing a little bit more, so it might be a little bit slower next week. But just because they're not hard, I just have to think. I don't have to think when I'm making a Sierra at all. I'm kind of on autopilot mode. Okay, so let me look at these things. All right, so this is just ink. I'm going to get these ink things out of the way because they have nothing to do with anything. So we're going to be making fountain pens. I believe that fit in there. Oh, must fit in here. Oh, here's the nib holder. I'm not gonna, oh, there we go. And then this, how does this work? Oh. That goes like that. Okay, I see. Oh, I got it. There we go. Okay. I had to kind of think, like I said, I've made some of these in the past. So what's going to happen, I think this actually just goes, this all goes together. So what's going to happen is you got two blanks. So, and I'm going to make these Olympic blanks for the subscription boxes longer. Just a little bit. You kind of need to go with like a 6-inch blank. So I'm going to cut them at 6 inches for the Olympic blanks for the subscription box. But basically, you're going to have, let me go get another blank. Hold on. Just to make this sort of work here. So you're going to glue this guy in one end. This would be the cap. You're going to cut your blank, but you're just going to round it over when you're turning it, right? So you get this, I'm actually going to put this all the way to the end. Cap, blank, and like I said, you're going to cut that somewhere. This would be for the body. You don't need to use two blanks. You just need to have a 6-inch long blank. This one would be stuck down in here, and this is your body. But you don't have hardware on the end. So when it all goes together, this is going to go in together. You basically, it looks like a kitless pen because there's no hardware hanging out on the ends at all. So even with like a junior, you're going to have, like your clip and all that kind of stuff. But you're going to have like finials and things. I don't have any junior. Yeah, I do. I have a junior somewhere. You got like center bands and all, you got all this hardware stuff that's obviously the kit, which is not a big deal. It's not a problem. But if you're looking for the more bespoke look, this is your like baby step into doing kitless type stuff, because you're going to get the same look on the outside, but their components bridge the gap. So instead of having to drill and do all that stuff from scratch, it's like in between a bespoke pen and a kit pen, because you got some kit components that you're using to put everything together. But when it all comes together, you're going to have a pen that looks like a kitless, basically. You're not going to see kit components on that outside. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that. Again, I'm going to have to kind of make sure that I get everything. I'm not going to be able to go through, I'll give you guys the cliff notes, but I'm not going to go through doing the drilling. Kate's got a video on her YouTube channel that I'll link to next week if you want to see how they recommend all the tips and tricks. It's very simple. There's really nothing difficult about, doing these kits or anything like that. It's very simple, and you don't really need any specialized tools aside from, you will need their mandrels. Okay, so they sell a mandrel set. They've got two different pen kits. I gotta be honest, they look extremely similar to me. I don't know what the difference is. One of them is maybe a little bit longer. So I think that you could probably just go with, get your mandrel for one of them. But if you want to try them out, we're going to have a discount next week, and we're going to do a giveaway. So there's going to be one of each kit, plus the bushings that you need, or the mandrels, I should say, not bushings. The mandrels that you need for each one of them is going to be a little bit of a giveaway. So that's kind of cool. Very excited about that. So make sure to head over, if you want to get a little sneak peek of their stuff, head over to Bullseye Turning Supply. And they also sell blanks and all kinds of other stuff. I'm just going to link to their homepage. You can kind of, snoop around. They got the hemp blanks. They sell those, which is cool. So just look under turning kits. This is the first thing on their menu. And you'll see what they got. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I know that a lot of people are a little bit, number one, intimidated by doing the kitless blank or kitless pens. I don't think you should be intimidated. They're not that hard to do once you kind of have your like steps in front of you. Then it's just all things that we've all kind of done, drill and turn stuff. It's not that hard, but there is there are quite a few tools and like accessories and things that you do need to pick up. And if you don't have the budget to go buy, you know, a bunch of taps and dies and all the stuff that you need for kitless pens, you can use these things. They're a decent bridge, you know, before you get into that kind of stuff to kind of see if you like it. And it also gives you some of the skills that you're going to need. You know, when you're turning a kitless pen, it's going to be essentially like the same principle. You're going to have this mandrel. You know, you're going to need, the one thing you're going to need is, and I would really recommend probably going with a, oh, what the heck are they called? Not, I can't think of, don't you hate it when you just totally can't think of what you're talking about? What are these things called, guys? The chuck. Call it chuck. Brain dead. I need lunch. I would probably go get a call it chuck. I just think that, especially if you're thinking about going down that path into getting into kitless stuff, you're really going to want these. They're great for, even if you're not going to do kitless anything or whatever. I really think that drilling round blanks on the lathe is much better using a call it chuck. It just grabs them better. So even just for drilling normal pen blanks, call it chucks are a little bit better, I think. So that is the one thing that you'll probably want to get before this. But if you have just a 3-jaw chuck, it'll work fine too. But you know, you got the mandrel in your chuck, and then, you know, you're just I got to figure out. I'm not sure. I'm just not as familiar with these things as some of the others. Okay, this might not be the right kit, frankly. Or, oh yeah, these are two different. It's not the right kit that I'm working with here. But anyway, you get the idea. Mandrel goes in the chuck, and then you would put your blank that has this thing glued onto it. You know, your blank's glued onto this piece, and you're turning it. So you're going to need to have a little bit of tailstock support at the end. You're going to turn your, you know, turn the blank down. You can do whatever you want on the end, but it's giving you a little bit of an idea of what turning a blank on a mandrel like this is going to feel like, because it is definitely different than turning just a normal kit pen on a brass bushing. There's no flex happening when you're using a glued tube. You know, the blank's glued to the tube, and you got your bushings, or even if you had just a mandrel. That is significantly different than turning something kind of hanging off your drive, you know, like headstock, and then being supported by a live center. So it gives you a little bit of practice, like learning how, you know, how is this going to feel? How does this work? How do I kind of part off and round and work on the end, especially at the end of turning? You got to turn off the end because you're going to have a live center holding up. You're going to have like a divot basically in the end, and you got to clean that end up. So it gives you some skills that you're going to need before you get into kitless pen making anyway. So it's pretty cool. Like, and they're a fun kit. They do a good job over there. They're fun people too. So I just wanted to kind of share all that good stuff with you guys. Oh, engraved kits, nice. So yeah, let's see. Formation. Oh, Mark's done a couple of the closed in. Both Marks. Engraved kits. I haven't seen those. Oh, you can't communicate with them, huh? Maybe reach out on Instagram. See if they might be a little bit quicker there. If you just shoot them a text, and maybe just see if they can add you. Whatever, pull you out of like the spam thing. Do I know if Kate? I'm pretty sure they're going. I don't know, actually. I don't know for sure. They're located in Southern California, kind of like the Pasadena area. Call it, yeah. Thanks. I was like, what is this thing called? You know, yeah, they have two kits, the Artemis and Apollo. And again, you will need to get a different mandrel. So it's not like they have different like threading and sizes and stuff. So just to warn you, there is different mandrels for the Artemis, and there's different, you know, like a separate one for the Apollo. Trying to find all the stuff. Where did I put the? Yeah, so these are for the Artemis, and these are for the Apollos. So they're slightly different. Like I said, I gotta be honest. I really don't know exactly what the difference is between the two. I don't know. They look very similar. Very similar. I want to say that the biggest thing that I'm seeing is the Artemis seems to be more substantial. So I'm just going to show you two pieces here. Let's see. This is the Apollo, like the same part. All right, so this is for the Apollo. It's a thinner diameter, and maybe part of it just has to do with how big of a blank you're actually going to need. But this is the Artemis one, and it's quite a bit thicker, a little bit longer. Like, so these pieces alone are just slightly different dimensions. Not a big deal though. So a little bit different on each one, but you will need, you know, whichever kit you buy, you're going to have to buy those mandrels. I think they do some things where like it comes as kind of like a kit. You just get like your, you know, a few, maybe even a couple of kits, plus some mandrels. So they do a couple different types of things like that, I think. I'm just going to leave this out. I'm going to put this nib in this. Oh, got a nib. And it's nice. They come with these little nib cover things so your nibs don't get jacked in transport. Pretty cool stuff, but they're great people. It's a family run kind of business. They really get the kind of the whole family involved. And they did that, you know, even in putting on those events, the Turner's events. Here's their sticker, and I'll put a sticker on next week as well on the pressure pot. I don't think I gotta be honest, I think I do have a bullseye sticker somewhere on one of my pressure pots, but can't find it right now. So pretty cool stuff. Like I said, discount code next week as well as a giveaway, so be ready for that, guys. Pretty excited about it. Hopefully I won't screw up. If I do screw up, it's not because these kits are hard, it's because I'm an idiot. But they're very simple. The biggest issue with these, like, all you're doing is you're drilling a hole. You want to go so deep into the blank. The biggest thing that I found, because I've done some of these kits a while ago, a few years ago. Biggest thing is you generally kind of want to glue both sides of everything together at once. That way you have everything lined up, and that's the biggest issue. Is you can kind of like you're worried that you got to make sure you don't glue the whole blank and everything together. That's the hardest part. The other thing is you can kind of screw up by, you need to leave a little bit of blank overhanging. I believe it's on the cap side. You don't want that the stuff you're gluing in. So like your hole needs to be deep enough for the stuff that you're gluing in, that little I think it's the plastic threaded side. It needs to be kind of back up. Like, you got to have some resin, some blank hanging over that piece. So just make sure that you drill the right depths. But like I said, Kate has a video on YouTube. She goes through the whole thing, explains like how to do that, how to glue them all together. It's not hard. It's just something that I don't do every single day. So I'm going to have to make sure that I have my notes ready when I get everything going. But by the time we do the stream, it's going to be ready. I'm going to have it because I got to get everything glued the day before. So anyway, pretty fun. I can't wait to see how these Olympic blanks turn out. We got kind of two different, attempts, similar though. I mean, it's not like they're going to look significantly different. And then these guys are going to be part of the subscription boxes, the Pen Blank Club. So again, there's a link down in the description if you want to get in on the new Pen Blank Club. It's 2 pen blanks every month. You want to get in for this one. Make sure to do so before the 15th so that you're on this month's cycle, and you'll get your blanks when I'm packaging them, because they're going to be going out around the 16th or so, 16 or 17. they'll shipping out, and the way that it works, I need to know how many blanks to make beforehand, before I charge, or whatever, before I make them or whatever, ship them out. So anyway, get in there if you want. And we got the code red blanks, the new kind of like themed for firefighters. Another good use of those blanks actually would be for the Chicago Bulls. It's black, red, and white. So anyway, let's see here. Done a couple of them. Done the thinner one. Yeah, the thinner one. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened to mine. I made them a while ago, and I think they've actually even upgraded the kits since I first did them, because I think I got some right at the beginning when they first started making them. So I had no problems with them the first time I did them, and I think that the kits themselves, everything about the kits are actually even better than when I did them. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty fun. Yeah, I don't think they don't have a physical store, just a website. So anyway, well, cool. All right, guys. So thanks for joining the fun tonight. I'm gonna go grab some lunch now, but I'll be sharing the demolding of these. We're not gonna really know what happened. The outsides, I don't know, are really gonna be that telling. So I think it might be kind of a, okay, whatever, on the demolding. They look, there's some colors and some white, but it's gonna be fun to turn these things up. And again, for the subscription boxes, I'm gonna cut these at 6 inches long, because I gotta do it for myself. We're gonna cut them longer than normal. So they're going to be as long as I can get them, basically. But I think you just need, as long as you're around the 6-inch mark, you should be fine. You might probably want to cut this with a bandsaw just to make sure that you get things, you're not taking blank material out on the kerf, but it should be pretty good to go. So, and if it's, even if you want to make the closed end pen, an Artemis or Apollo, if not, then it's not going to make any difference anyway. So anyway, guys, we'll be back on next Saturday. I hope you all have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks for joining the fun, and I'll see you guys on the next stream.